Are there switchheads? Thank you for joining me. Hope you're all well, and welcome to my review of Who Pressed Mute on Uncle Marcus. This is my first outing of a FMV, and I've been really so looking forward to something like this. I have really enjoyed the looks of Wales Interactive games and wondered what these actual games are like, but never was able to push the button as I didn't know whether I'd like it or get into it enough. But thankfully this time I actually got to see for myself. So why not come along and subscribe to the channel to be kept up to date on all my reviews and sales videos that I put out on a weekly basis. And with that, let's get on with it, shall we? Okay, so it's a bit of a murder mystery, and yeah, I actually like the point and click and sort of like games like that have murder mystery type of who did it type games, and I was kind of really interested in this one, whether it would have what it takes to actually hold your attention, as essentially, to what I understood it was like a movie that you kind of take choices here and there, and essentially that is what it is. The story revolves around, and I'll try not to spoil it as best I can. Basically, you are Abby and you get a call off your uncle, Marcus, aka Andy Buckley. You may or may not recognise that name.
And that's why I needed to talk to you, Abby. I need your help.
Yeah, of course. Anything, you know that. What do you want me to do?
I need you to investigate a murder.
Oh, this is a prank, right?
I wish.
Murder? Who's been killed?
Me.
And basically, he asks you to investigate a murder. Whose murder? His. Dun dun dun. Basically, he is being poisoned. And it's up to you during the family quiz night on your mother's birthday to figure out which one of these people have done it. And to me, this is handled really well. You do get a kind of sense of murder mystery, who did it kind of feeling from it. But mainly the game will be asking you to, well, watch lots of dialogue and video. The game can be played multiple times, especially if you haven't figured it out, because all your clues will actually carry on to the next playthrough. There's a nice family tree that you can look at that basically gives you information on, well, the characters, but really not that much information, unfortunately. Although it would have been cool to have a little bit more, of a bio about each of the actual characters, as they certainly during the game have their own personalities. Hey, a family tree map. Such as Lottie, who's kind of, well, to my mind, a little bit up her own arse, and also a bit of a diva, loves her singing and things like that, and just wants to be a massive star. And then there's Auntie June, that basically spends most of her time pissed, and for that reason really doesn't have a stop or a mute button for her thoughts in her head. And then there's your disapproving mother that, well, is very disapproving of mostly everything that you say or do, or anyone really. Suffice to say, they all have their own personalities, and this comes out acting wise very, very well. And then you can have a look at the evidence that you've drawn upon all the actual characters, and unless you've got enough evidence to actually accuse someone, you can't actually accuse them. Which is fair enough, but I think it would have been also amusing to be able to accuse the wrong person here and there. Basically, because of the big personalities here, I would have liked to see the reactions. Could it be June? Or maybe Bradley? It could be Lottie. Or maybe it's Mum. Dun dun dun. That Nan looks suspicious. Ha! Toby, the one that's always breaking up. So, as I said, the game is kind of like a mini movie, although it does actually go over an hour, so probably about a movie size, a short movie, but a movie size. And you get to, at points, make decisions. And under normal circumstances, this is done through a timer, but you can actually turn this off if you want to stream it online, or I guess play it with other people. And this I didn't do, but I would love to do it because I think it would probably be fun as well. As you're playing through the quiz, trying to work out who the murderer is, you're also cast here and there back to Uncle Marcus, where you have dialogues here and there, sort of like to and throws, but you also get to see his health. And as the time goes on, this diminishes. And obviously, the point of the game is to work out who's the murderer before he dies. The game to me was very new, very fresh, because I've never played anything like this before. And yeah, it was also filmed and done entirely within the pandemic, which is quite impressive. Although before I knew this fact, it kind of occurred to me that's why it was filmed like this. But to me, it was actually still quite impressive from what they've done here. Now, visually, obviously, it is crystal clear. They obviously use some top-notch equipment to actually record all of this and touch it up and edit it. The sound, again, crystal clear, absolutely amazing. Although there were some odd bits when a character was meant to have bad reception, but it kind of like didn't come out that way because it was still just like everybody else's. And you kind of like only had his word for it that it was a bad connection. I think that could have been touched up a bit and made slightly more believable. The good. It's a fantastic start to my FMV journey, and I'll be definitely looking into getting more. Impressive sound, impressive visuals, and yeah, impressive acting as well. I especially like the fact that it did actually give me that whodunit feeling to it. The bad. I'm not quite sure whether it being so short is actually a bad thing. It's not really that short, as there's multiple playthroughs that you can have here. I did experience on a couple occasions the lip syncing kind of like came out of sync, especially when I've pulled out of the game to either go and do something or, you know, just to pause, have a rest and then go back into it. The lip sync would be slightly out. I have a feeling that this could be a very niche audience set, so there is that. I suppose you're either going to like it or you're not going to like it. It's a Marmite game, if you like. My first outing at, as I said, FMVs, and I was not disappointed. Next up, I will be looking at playing this game either streaming or with multiple people, just to see what that's like as well. And I think as I've enjoyed this game so much so far, it's going to have to be a 4 out of 5 for me. And yeah, pretty well what all other FMVs are going to be classed or scored upon. Mainly because it's my first outing and I really enjoyed it. And so before we get into our alternative, why not hit that like and subscribe button? It does help the channel, and also it keeps you up to date with all my latest reviews and sell videos. As I say, I do them weekly just for your perusing. And as for that alternative, well, I'm going to be going for Late Shift, another FMV by Wales Interactive. And yeah, this one looks good as well, but it's set kind of like, well, it's filmed in pandemic times, which means that different locations are used and mingling with people, obviously. And so if you've got any comments or even questions about who pressed mute on Uncle Marcus, please leave them down in the comments. That is, after all, where they belong. Or you can come and continue the conversation with me in our community Discord. The link is down below. Come along, have a chat. Because life is better when we switch together.